We just had a master's class in getting the proper coverage for your family. Stay tuned for this half hour, everybody, because Andrea's sticking around to tell us really how it all works. Giddy up. Welcome again, everybody, to Your Little Castle show, bringing experts into our studio here from around the community who have the expertise to help us understand big and important things. And if you want to start talking about important things, personal story, lucky to be around, but had great coverage for my insurance because my dad was kind of studied that space a little bit. He's a financial guy. We've got Andrea early in building here. There's early, I'm going to put that up so you can see her name, to help us understand this even more. First half hour was great. Thank you for sharing some of the in-depth and why this works and what people should be most concerned with. We're going to dig in a little bit here and get into the nitty-gritty because how important is insurance for everybody to understand and have. And most people don't understand it, but if they have somebody that can help them with it, that's what you're here for.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And everyone's always like, Andrea, who's your customer? And I'm like, anyone with a pulse and a driver's license.
Right.
I mean, you need insurance.
You have to. I mean, it's illegal to drive without car insurance.
100% illegal.
People still
They'll lock you up.
They'll do it, but they're not supposed to. Well, tell me then, what is we've talked about this a little bit in the first show. If you missed that first show, all of our shows end up being recorded, obviously, and then put on our YouTube channel as well. So you can watch everything. If you missed it when it aired on ABC, we're up to 5 half-hour shows every week now on ABC, starting this week. And you will see, and so this recording will be a little bit after that started, but we're filming a little beforehand here. But tell me, what's the biggest mistake? You talked about it a little bit earlier, and that was just people. What was your first answer with that?
Going online and filling out a form.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first mistake. The second mistake is thinking they don't need insurance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, or trying to cut coverages.
Yes, and so why would anybody think they don't need insurance? I mean, I guess
they've never had to use it.
Yes. Once you've had to, case in point.
Yeah.
Once you've had to use it, then you understand the importance.
Yes.
And so that's what. And so with that, what would there ever be a case where somebody? I guess so. I'm trying to absorb that. But when somebody has been hit with a calamity like what happened to myself and my friend who was killed in the accident that I was in, then you have an appreciation for that. But you're saying most people before that, they're just like, it's just an extra charge that I've got to have it, and I'm never going to actually use it. And why do I have to pay this every month? You help them to understand the importance.
Yeah, it feels like a burden until you actually use it. And then you got to make that call, or someone is injured, or you can't go to work the next day because you're injured or you're in the hospital. Heaven forbid there's a fatality. You know, there's so many things that can happen. And even on home insurance, a pipe breaks in the walls of your home and floods your basement. What are you going to do? If you don't have insurance, how are you going to cover that?
Yeah. And other things that are important to note are like if you get in an accident, they fix the car, but you got to have the right kind of medical insurance too, right? And how does that get equated into that? Help people understand the different portions of their insurance.
MedPay is on your auto policy.
Okay. And
that will help anyone. You can use it whether you're at fault or not at fault in an accident. There's different variations as low as $1,000 all the way up to $25,000. So it really depends. And then after that, then your health insurance would kick in, your medical insurance would kick in if you needed to use it.
Okay. And it's just, we're talking about multiple different types of insurance here, but you're helping everybody with all of these and making sure that they all work together the right way.
Yeah. And sometimes you may just be involved in an accident. Let's say you hit some ice, right? We just had a snowstorm. You hit some ice, you veer off the road, you hit a tree. No one else is involved. It's just you. If you don't have that med pay and you're injured, you've got to hope you have good health insurance.
Yes, because if you don't, then how many people don't have the full? Because like I said, when you've got coverage to fix the damage, that's first and foremost in most people's mind. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize the impending medical costs and all of that gets. But they're separate on the policy, and how do you?
They're all separate, yeah. So you have 3 main coverages. You have your protection for yourself, your protection and liability to others, and then your actual automobile. So bodily injury, property damage, un- and underinsured motorist protects you and other people. And then you have your collision and comprehensive, which protects the vehicle that you drive.
Yeah, and I understand it might be related, but I understand the number one cause of bankruptcy is medical bills. Now that's from usually health related things, but somebody gets hit and they have a stroke as a result of the accident, or they just broke their back. I mean, and they're getting airlifted out. Those are all things that somebody's going to pay for that.
Yeah, or potentially they have a stroke while driving, and then they end up hitting more than one driver, right? Wow. They hit one vehicle, then they keep going, hit another vehicle. And that property damage, a lot of people look at your policies, they might only have 100,000. That is not enough. You hit a Tahoe, an Escalade, you could go through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'd say by the time you're at your third car, it doesn't matter what that third car is.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
You're going to have a whole lot of damage, and you have multi-car pileups and people that cause. And wow, just all right. Well, we're getting into it here a little bit, everybody. I want people to understand the importance that please get the proper coverage, because it will do good service for nobody. Like you said, nobody says, "Hey, I'm planning on having an accident today." It's always something when you weren't planning on it that things happen. But you focused on residential. Residential is where you enjoy. Why do you like residential? Helping or private individual home as opposed to big corporate commercial stuff. Why do you?
Just small families. We love working with families, teen drivers. We love going through the importance and teaching our kids right out of the gate why this matters, right?
Okay, yeah. So how often? I didn't think about that. But what is the average age of client you might have? Give me but you've got people starting as young as 15 on their own. 16,
yeah, they get their permit at 15. They're typically on their parents' policy, and we walk them through the financial responsibility they have to carry insurance if they're going to start driving the vehicles. Not only that, but the parents have a responsibility too to the teen. Until they have their own policy, the liability of the kids are on their family.
Yeah, so kids, you realize you're not just on your own. If you mess up,
you're expensive.
This isn't just on you. You're impacting the insurance coverage for the family there, and mom and dad want to make sure that they keep their rates low because they're all tied together. How much is it the most expensive insurance for the young drivers, or where does the highest burden lay these days?
Yeah, you kind of think of it as like an upside down bell curve. So when you first start driving, it's a little expensive, and then you kind of hit that sweet spot between 25 to 65, and then you start creeping up into the 70s, and we're hitting buildings out then. You know, we're going through buildings, we're doing all kinds of stuff. When we're younger, we're older. So that sweet spot is really that 25 to 65, and then you can kind of see your rates start to go up a little bit.
Yeah, my dad helped me understand. Carter, when I was first had my driver's license, this is 5 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, not long at all.
I'm 53, everybody. I did get my license when I was 16. But he said, you're the best equipped, you have the most skills, you just don't understand all of what's going on and the impact and how to be aware. So that's where the experience. So you're saying then it goes down, and then it goes back up again towards the end. So it's that reverse bell curve, I guess.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's what you're talking about. Makes sense. Tell me, though, with regard to St. Louis as a city, you're doing so well. I mean, obviously the word is traveling very quickly. Word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing out there. What do you like about working in St. Louis so much?
Oh, gosh. I mean, lived here my entire life, and the people here, they're just the best. St. Louis is awesome. We're really here for our community. We truly care about one another, and we'll fight for each other. So it's awesome to be in this community and see people that I've gone to school with who now have kids who are starting to drive, and I get to help them and explain them and just watch each season of life.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, if you were born and raised in St. Louis, what high school did you go
to?
Of course, we all get that question. But you get to know, I've got friends where I grew up in Fenton, but I live in the St. Charles, I call it the West Maryland Heights area because I'm literally closer to Maryland Heights than to St. Charles. But right over the bridge, over 364, you can see me riding my lawnmower up to the gas station sometimes. But now you get to, as you've been around St. Louis long enough, and I guess it's kind of a unifying location where a lot of people go. This little baseball park downtown, Busch Stadium. Everybody kind of gets to know everybody in St. Louis, is my point.
Yeah, absolutely. And people from St. Louis love to do business with people in St. Louis. And that's what I love. We've built our own community.
And that's helped you to develop. And see how personable and friendly she is. That's why she's done so well with this. But you got to have a heart to really care. And that's where I see you said that's really important to you.
Absolutely, yes. My faith is the most important thing to me. And everything leads out of that.
And I'll take the title off there, but you see the faith she's got your cross there. I appreciate that. I was brought up and raised Lutheran, Catholic is big in St. Louis, but it's that mentality, and it seemed to me, I'm going to emphasize that point a little bit, but when you do care about your brother, your sister, then it impacts your life. You become, and then it kind of becomes a mutual thing where we all take care of each other. Those people who are out for the short-term, immediate, hey, how can I help me? They're going to find out in St. Louis, at least, that doesn't go very far because we all know each other.
We do.
People figure
We're smart. We're smart. And when we serve others, it's a blessing to them, but really it's a blessing to us.
Yeah, that's how it works. Take care of others, help others. 20 plus years helping take care of people in our community. and now your own agency. You've been in, how long is your agency? When did you launch your agency?
Yeah, I launched my agency on March 1st of 25, so we're getting ready to hit a full year.
So 19 years before that.
19 years before that, I was working in other people's businesses and decided it was time for me to set the standard. And so excellence is how we provide our services.
And how she's told me a little bit off camera. I might share this. You're doing really well. Things have gone well for you.
Yes, they have.
Because you've got a great demeanor and professionalism, and things have done
Yeah.
well. So we all want the agent who's doing well, because if you ever get an agent that's not doing well, then they're going to sell you something you don't need.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that's doing well,
You won't find me on the golf course during the week. You're going to find me in my office helping my community.
that's important. Maybe there's a charitable event, but other than that, you'll be
That's right.
doing your stuff out there helping people. That's so important to us in our community. We love sharing how St. Louis is such a community that sticks together really well. Tell me then, as we finish up here, we've got about 4 minutes left in this 15-minute segment. A time when you really helped somebody that was in a tough situation. They did not know what to do, or they had been led down the wrong path, or left to hang on their own, figuring it out. When did you help somebody that was in a tough situation?
Yeah, I think about the first thing that comes to my mind is the retirement community. So a lot of people are starting to retire now, baby boomers, and they've had policies that they've had with companies for 40 years, and they file a claim, and that policy drops them because they had a hail claim. We can't help that, right? So we've been able to come in and help that community not only get their budget where it needs to be because they're retired and they're on fixed income, but we've been able to make sure that they have the right coverage for that season of life that they're going into retirement. So I was really excited. We had a client come in off a referral, and she called me yesterday and she said, Andrea, my mortgage is $450 less a month because of you. And I said, you better go on that trip, girl. And so we're just really excited that we are able to make sure we have the right coverage and we can do it for an affordable rate.
Yeah, that's like one of the trade secrets, I guess, to figure out where people lie within the right coverage and the right age and the right history. And we hung out on a limb to dry because somebody just wasn't paying attention to it. You'll be able to analyze somebody's history. You can see the whole history on somebody, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I had a friend of mine, she did my insurance back in the day. She says, Carter, I know you drive kind of like a maniac, but I've seen your insurance history and you don't have any accidents or a great driving record or whatever she said, so I'm not going to freak out about this. But anyway, on the other side of that, though, the people who've had accidents, you got to figure out how to best get them. Why would somebody get, this happened to me once, and I wasn't even driving. Tell me what happened here. Buddy flipped my car. Got a new car from my accident, been driving for a while. He said, Jimmy, you go ahead and drive my car. It's a nice sports car. He flips the car. I got canceled. What was the strategy there, and how did...
Yeah, so insurance follows the vehicle, not the driver.
Yeah.
So whoever gets behind the wheel of that vehicle, you better make sure they have the right insurance. So you don't want to be driving your buddy's car unless your buddy's got good insurance.
Gotcha. Good point, yeah. And then I got canceled. Now, that was a passive... Did that help me because I wasn't the driver? Either the next case, they looked at, hey, you had a claim, it doesn't matter. We're canceled, but I had to go get insured somewhere else. And that impacted my score, I guess. So, But an expert like you would pick that apart and say, that's fine, but when you've got coverage forever. Is there anybody that's just completely uninsurable with regard to home and auto?
Multiple claims, but you've got to have, our underwriting is amazing. So if you have 5 or more claims, we're not going to be able to help out at that case. But otherwise, we've got great underwriting opportunities and policies that can help just about anybody.
Is it 5 claims in a year, or how long is that?
5-year period.
5 years, so 1 a year. That's pretty steady if you got 5 claims.
Yeah.
All
There's some frequency there, and so we like to dive in and make sure that everything's okay, or that you're actually getting things fixed that need to be fixed.
Good. That helps us understand who you can help. What's the biggest challenge you've had to overcome as a business owner and as an agent working in the industry? Either one of those areas that you can tell me you've had hurdles. We all do, and obviously you're doing very well, exceptionally well. A lot of clients who speak well of you. What's the hurdle you had to overcome as a business owner?
Yeah, I think taking a step back and really letting my individual agents shine under the Early Edge brand. We've got 5 fully licensed agents, and everybody does a phenomenal job. But I can wake up at 3 a.m. just like any business owner and think, oh my gosh, did that happen? Did we do this? And sure enough, we did. So it's just really learning how to keep the trust inside the agency and balance life out.
Well, again, it gets into a matter of making sure that you are dealing with the professionals that are getting the job done and understand what they're talking about. Because so many of us, if you're cutting corners, you're going to end up, you're losing something somewhere, and you want to have that agent that can even if you don't understand entirely yourself, but the agent that knows that you're going to be can sleep at night.
Absolutely.
And making sure you're taking care of other people, that'll help make it easier for you. With that, a little bit more fun down at Busch Stadium. We're going to share with you some of the fun we have down there. And I can travel down to Busch Stadium wonderfully because I always make sure we have that right insurance. You should get the right insurance too.
That's right.
Call Andrea here if you have any questions with that. But with that, here's some of our community stuff. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, we're outside Patios. My new best friend here, Jackson. I knew we'd be good buddies because he's got a cool jersey. Turn around, show everybody. Sure. Hey, I asked who's your favorite player. Nado. Hey.
Nado, baby.
All right, now, what do you? A lot of people. Come on up here for me a little bit so we get that mic closer. But my videographer, I'm paying him double what I paid the last guy. So, truth is, a lot of people thought maybe the Cardinals weren't going to have it this year. A little surprise. What do you think has made them the team that they are so far?
I think they got a bunch of young guys that are ready to play and keep going, man. I think they got they're enthusiastic. Everybody thinks they were down, and they're just coming out of the woodworks ready to go.
So, a lot of people got a little, there's no superstars besides Nado. They got some talent on this team.
Oh, yeah. Brendan Donovan, youngest guy, one of the youngest guys out there, best player in the league almost, man. He's got
leading the league in hits, I think.
I was about to say, leading the league in hits, second best in batting average out of everybody in the whole league, I think.
I will add this.
Maybe?
If you had a band, Jackson, have you ever seen Brendan Donovan and Jackson at the same place at the same time?
I gotta grow it out a little bit. I gotta grow it out just a little bit longer, man.
Hey, stay tuned for more, everybody. Giddy up. Patios, everybody.
Yes, sir.
His name is Carter Rathwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rathwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner, to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So there we talked about it. We mentioned the book in the first show, but pick this book up, Magnetized Media, #1 seller on Amazon. Yours truly. We talk about how every one of us has one of these, or 2 of them, in our pocket. Easy for me to say as I'm dropping around here. But these are smartphones, right? And our smartphones now allow us to just at any time film something. The golden rule is you have about 20% of your stuff is professional, 80% is you out in the community doing what you do. Kind of an expert here. Instagram, Facebook, you have a little TikTok going on, but you got a great website. How has technology changed the way your industry does business now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really get to know someone. I think you want to do business with people that you know, like, and trust. And the only way you're going to get to know, like, and trust someone is by seeing all the shenanigans they get into online, right?
Right. Yeah, they say be careful if you're trying to get a job. Be careful what you put out on social media because there'd be so much out there. With that, I'll shoot. That is a great professional pictures you've got there and how you help and engage in the community. And so this is your Instagram. I'll let everybody take a quick look at this. But you've got lots of good feedback information. And Instagram is all about images that you can share content. And are you using Chat GPT yet these days? And all the stuff you can do. And so much about that, but that you can get into. And then I want to show everybody here, and well, I'm going to get to it in a second, but I'll switch over, and you can see here's that Facebook page, and I'll put that up there for everybody to take a look at as well. But lots of good. This is the wheelhouse for our age group, right? We all have this Facebook thing. It started out back in 2004, and now here we are, 2026, and get to know your agent there and see that they've got a page of information they share out on the internet. So in a second, I'm going to show your website to everybody. I'll use that to follow up with. Tell us the process if somebody wants to work with you.
Yeah, they can reach out, call, text, email, smoke signals. We'll take it all. We're out there looking. So we're just right off Highway K in O'Fallon, right in front of Club Fitness. So you can't miss us. Okay.
And you can see right here on the web behind us, the TV wall behind us, here's your website. I like the fact you've got to make it simple for people. You've got the nice logo right there. I'm going to go and click here. It says meet the team. So you've developed a pretty awesome little team already. And tell me a little bit about who we've got here that is working with you.
Yeah, Adriana's in office with me every single day. She is comes from a proud military family. So she really loves helping and working out with people that have military backgrounds. Sarah is a mom of 5. And so she really understands having all those young drivers on your policy. So she's out there helping everybody. Lived in Wentzville. Veronica is our amazing bilingual agent, and her and I have worked together for the last 5.5 years. She is phenomenal and does a really good job at breaking down insurance and making it easy. Ashley is our all things expert in Illinois and very passionate. Her and her 2 pups love hanging out. She is a huge gamer. Loves that community and really helps out. And Mindy, love her. She is our account manager. So Mindy is mother to 4. She's got 6 grandbabies now. When she's not running around taking care of them, she's taking care of our clients and making sure they have everything they need in a timely fashion.
And here right there, some of those reviews again. You've got those embedded from your website or from your Google, and then a link to your information up here. But I'll go back to the top. You click on the home page and hear it again. If you'd like to get a quote, pretty quick and simple, click the button there, get a quote, and it's gonna, there it is. It's popping up, and it'll create an email right there for them to immediately. You can't see it on my screen here, and I don't want to give away all my contacts, everything there, but that just props open a prompt for people to send an email.
Yeah, it makes it super easy.
And start the process. You can send an email right there to you immediately, and
and you'll hear from us within 24 hours.
Okay, yeah, because this is often something very urgent. If it's more urgent than an email, emails tend to be something, all right, we'll get to you within 24 hours. Some people a lot more than that, but she's going to get you in 24 hours. But call you, and they can get a hold of somebody, and your phones are available. Yeah. And even after hours, if they had to, they can.
After hours, yes. So we have a texting platform, so all of our clients can reach us after hours. Heaven forbid something happened and we're not open. I have 24/7 access to that. So.
Very cool, and then all of that information on the website behind us as I'm scrolling around there. And so that process is pretty clear. But you'll meet with somebody either over the phone, or some people if they want to come into your office, or they can meet you face to face.
Welcome to come into the office. We love that. I would say 25% of the business we do is in person. Okay. 75% is over the phone, and we chew it off one step at a time. So they always say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So like that's what we do with insurance. We hold your hand through it all.
We've had lots of good notes you should be taking here. I got my pencil out here, but right there, that's an important one because it is overwhelming, especially when we talk about everything that goes into the process to get your insurance. How do you tackle all of this? One bite at a time.
That's right.
And Andrew will make sure that all the bases are covered. and that process is taken. What's the biggest objection people have? The biggest question mark they have whenever they're, why do I need that coverage, or what is this? What is the biggest question people have for you?
Yeah, I love that. So usually the biggest objection, it always stems back to they don't understand something.
Okay.
So what is it that we need to go back and review for you to make sure that you understand it, and we'll take the time to do it. That's the only objection that we get that we can't overcome, is making sure that everyone understands everything we're talking about. So breaking it down and making it easier. But there's no other reason why you should be concerned.
Sit down with an expert. Sit down with Andrea and anybody from her team. They have quite the team there, and a bunch of beautiful young ladies who will make sure that all the questions are answered.
Yes.
Because it's really a matter of somebody, they just didn't understand it.
Right.
What is this charge for? And well, if it goes up, if you got $50 worth, then you get 500. But if you get 100, then you get $1 million. Whatever those numbers might be, I'm just throwing out numbers. But the more you, and it pays off, because if you do have an incident and you only had 25,000, well, if you had 100,000.
Right.
For $7 more or something like that.
Yeah,
Those are things to
it's
consider.
very inexpensive. Very inexpensive to make those small little tweaks and adjustments, and that's why you have a professional help you do it.
Yes, professional. That is the key. What ultimately gives you the most satisfaction for this job? Is something, obviously, for 20 years you've been doing this. Why do you love it so much?
Yeah, I love educating the community. I love being a safe place for people to come and ask questions and not feel silly. And I really love being that phone call on potentially the worst day of your life.
Yeah, there's sometimes when you have, and boy, I'll never forget my parents. I initially thought, I talked to my mom recently about it. She goes, no, we weren't getting a phone call about you were in an accident and you should get to the hospital. We were on the scene because they were coming back behind us and pulled up on the scene where the accident happened. But that phone call, or that when you get that realization that there's been a tragic issue, go through all of that, but then make sure, and then, like I said, my buddy, I call him saying, did he have insurance? They had canceled the insurance. You want to make sure that doesn't happen to somebody because they didn't understand, trying to save a few bucks.
Right.
Make sure you have the right coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mindy, our account manager in our office, she's on top of all those policies. So sometimes people make that mistake and they forget to make that payment. But don't you worry, we're going to call and remind you.
That's good to have a real person that will get on the phone to help you
Yep.
with that. That's important. We all...
we love technology, but at the end of the day, when it's this important, you really want to have a human, so a physical body that's there helping and guiding you.
Very important. Write that one down, everybody. A physical human who actually is going to make that call to check in with you. How do you contribute to the community? A particular charity that you like? You mentioned one to me before. If you want, I'll Google search them. Tell me about them.
Yeah, so we do a lot. We do Quote for a Cause. So we love supporting and giving back to our inside community. Lucky Chance Rescue is very near and dear to our heart. My little German Shepherd rescue, Ruby, she's 2 years old. She came from Lucky Chance Rescue. And we're big supporters, making sure that they can continue to help all the animals in our area. They're right here local in Lake St. Louis, and they do phenomenal work. And it's not a facility, so everything is volunteer-based, so they need a lot of fosters.
I'll put this on the wall for everybody to take a look here. We'll give them a little shout out. But Lucky Chance, right there. Is that them?
That's them.
And then being supportive within our community. And wow, what a great interview. Great information, great feedback, and it's nice to see leaders in our community. Get a hold of Andrea early. She will help you. earlyedgeinsurance.com. Giddy up.